when the challenger doesn't win, like I'm guessing Brian Cage won't beat Jon Moxley, he still has a title now. So the challenger loses and he will still have a championship belt. It doesn't sit right with me. What's up, Maniacs? My name is Mex. I'm a wrestling fan, a wrestling enthusiast, a WrestleManiac if you will, and today we are talking about AEW Fyter Fest Night 2. So this was the night we were supposed to get the big AEW World Championship match, Jon Moxley versus Brian Cage. However, due to the pandemic and Jon Moxley being at home, taking care of his wife and making sure he doesn't spread anything she may or may not have, this match has now been moved over to next week, Fight for the Fallen. But don't worry, we still had plenty of good matches on the night. Right here at WrestleManiac UK, I review everything that is WWE and AEW. So if this sounds like the place for you, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I drop a new video. Ladies and gents, without further ado, let's get into the review. Now, I'm actually going to start with something from what should have been the main event segment, and we had Brian Cage and Taz coming out. And Taz said he had a big announcement. I think he built this up over a few days before Fyter Fest. And it turns out that Taz is giving Brian Cage his old school FTW Championship. So Brian Cage is the FTW Champion. So for those that don't know, this is a championship that Taz used to carry in ECW when he should have been given the World Championship. However, he put this belt together, FTW. FTW standing for F the World, by the way. I'm sure you can guess what the F is. And yeah, this will be Brian Cage's championship from now on. Now, I'm not too impressed with them bringing this championship in. I know it probably won't be a recognized title, but I do think it just kind of devalues the World Championship match, because now the challenger is carrying a belt as well. And when the challenger doesn't win, like I'm guessing Brian Cage won't beat Jon Moxley, he still has a title now. So the challenger loses and he will still have a championship belt. It doesn't sit right with me. The championship isn't recognized. I don't really like or understand what the championship stands for. I just think it's a bit of a poor way for Brian Cage to most likely lose the match and still look strong because he has this championship. So I'm not too happy with it. I don't think that this is going to do much for Brian Cage either. And I just still think there is a problem here in AEW with building main event stars. And again, it looks like an opportunity which they had to maybe make Brian Cage, that star, a real threat towards the world champion, which I think he was. They have almost diluted now with this belt. I said this a week ago or so, that Lance Archer as well should have been in this conversation as a main eventer, as a credible threat to the world champion. They messed that up. Brody Lee recently had a title shot, has went a bit cold since. I'm not sure if AEW really know how to manage and harness these guys they should have in that main event scene. Maybe it's going to take Kenny Omega and Hangman Page to kind of lose their tag team championships and move into that division, so to speak, to really give it some oomph. Or maybe it's going to take until July 18th when these WWE releases can start maybe coming into other promotions, maybe AEW, and be brought in as big stars. You guys don't know how much I want Rusev, aka Myro, to show up at AEW. You don't know how much. But hopefully if they brought in someone like Rusev, he will be treated as a main eventer and a credible threat, and they won't botch what should be a credible challenger like I feel they are botching these last few guys that they have brought in to that division. To open the show, we had Private Party taking on Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega for the World Tag Team Championships. A very entertaining match. There's so much quality in Private Party, and you know what? There is just so much quality in the tag team division in AEW. So much so that I'm thinking they might need a secondary tag team belt. Like, there should be secondary tag team championships because there's just too much quality. The good thing here is that all the tag teams are getting so much opportunity to show themselves. So even if they don't have a belt and even if they're not crowned champions, they're still on TV regularly. They're still given top quality matches with enough time to really display, you know, what they have, what they can bring to the table. But I think they are really cruising for a secondary tag team championship here, because there is so much talent, like so much. Adam Page and Kenny Omega got the win here, and I think that's 10 wins on the bounce for them, either 10 wins or 10 title defenses on the bounce, which is a pretty impressive record. Next we had Lance Archer versus Joey Janela. Love the way Lance Archer brought out Sonny Kiss on his shoulders or over his shoulder, just showing how much of a monster he really is. And to be honest, they had a pretty competitive match. Joey Janela, I just love his kind of scrappy kind of wrestling style. It really appeals to me. I really find it entertaining, and he's definitely showing that he's got more to offer AEW than maybe the opportunities he's getting at the moment. But at the end of the day, Lance Archer won. The big man, I guess, was always going to win. Typical story of, you know, the smaller guy couldn't overcome the bigger guy, and yeah, Lance Archer got the win. Again, back to the tag team division, we had Young Bucks and FTR taking on Rey Fenix and Pentagon Jr. and Butcher and the Blade in what was a brilliant match of the night, match of the whole of Fyter Fest. Like, it was just crazy, so much talent. That Canadian destroyer Rey Fenix done to Matt Jackson, I think it was, outside the ring. Oh my god, I was thinking, what am I seeing here? And Rey Fenix is so talented. I feel, for me personally, Rey Fenix went under the radar for so long. Like, it was always Pentagon Jr. to me, and then as soon as AEW hit and I was watching him on a more regular basis, I said, Rey Fenix is something else, mate. I was well shocked. Like, Rey Fenix has so much talent. So much talent. He is so good, and it was just another good showing, and it was just another good showing for FTR. The Young Bucks, of course, are the Young Bucks, and even Butcher and the Blade, they were really impressive in this match. So again, it just shows the depth of quality that AEW have in their tag team division. Towards the finish, there was a missed super kick where Matt Jackson hit Dax Harwood, and it helped Pentagon pick up the win for his team. So surely we are getting ever closer to the inevitable FTR versus Young Bucks match. Nyla Rose was in a 2-on-1 handicap match between Klin King, I think her name is, and Kenzie Page, and it was so dominant. Nyla Rose was gonna win. We knew she was going to win. There's nothing to even talk about in this match. However, after the match, Nyla Rose announced that she can see everyone around her that has managers is doing successful, so she's went and got herself her own manager, but she's not telling us who the manager is. So if you guys think you know who the manager could be or is going to be, make sure you leave a comment down below and let me know, because I don't know. I think maybe I'm leaning towards Vicky Guerrero. I do think it's a bit obvious though, so maybe it'll be someone else that's going to shock us. Guys, if you are enjoying this review, make sure you hit the thumbs up button and give me a like. It lets more people see this video, and I appreciate it very much. 6-man tag action here, where we had Dark Order, Brody Lee and Stu Grayson teaming up with Colt Cabana to take on SCU. And the ongoing story in the background is Colt Cabana going to join the Dark Order. Now, to be honest, when this started, I wasn't very interested, but at this point, this is becoming more and more interested. They're letting Colt Cabana pick up the wins here. Yeah, sorry, spoiler alert, Dark Order picked up the win here, but Brody Lee is laying them out and tagging in Colt Cabana and letting Colt Cabana pick up the win, which is obviously impressing him, and you know, he's thinking, you know, I can get used to this. So it's going to be interesting where this ends up and if Colt Cabana actually joins the Dark Order in the long term. My favorite part of the match though was when on commentary they announced that going forward it is going to be Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels in the tag team of SCU, and Scorpio Sky is going to be pushing for singles gold. That's all I wanted to hear, and it was enough to make my day and make me really enjoy this match and want to see what's next for Scorpio Sky, because I think he's a big talent and should definitely be knocking on the door for at least the TNT Championship very soon. There was some more shenanigans between Britt Baker and Big Swole, where Britt Baker has now actually got Big Swole suspended from the company. However, Big Swole still found her way into the arena to cause some mayhem, cause some trouble, and by the end of the segment, if I'm correct, I think Big Swole hit out at Britt Baker's assistant, I forget her name, and inadvertently the assistant then hit Britt Baker, and Britt Baker now has a broken nose, people. So the conspiracy continues for Britt Baker not to become the women's champion of AEW, but when she's ready and fit to come back, I'm sure they're putting that belt on her in no time. And then we had the main event, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy versus Le Champion Chris Jericho. And to be honest, this is the match I wanted to see. This is the match I cared most about and I was most engaged with, and the build-up had been great and the match did not disappoint at all. I really think this was Chris Jericho at his best, putting over younger talent. And for me, Orange Cassidy put on a performance which was kind of like I've arrived performance. This is like a main event of what probably should have been a pay-per-view, which they've put on TV. Obviously, we know the World Championship match would have taken this slot if it would have taken place, but Orange Cassidy done a great job just being Orange Cassidy, man. We had Santana and Ortiz on the outside causing all kinds of trouble. Orange Juice ended up in the ring, like sprayed out everywhere. A really physical match as well. I mean, we all knew the Inner Circle are really going to cause Orange Cassidy a lot of problems, and Best Friends came out and did try to help, but it wasn't enough. And after a Judas effect, Chris Jericho picked up the 1-2-3, but there were so many false finishes in this match which did leave you thinking, you know, is Orange Cassidy gonna win here? But I think we all knew deep down that it was gonna be Chris Jericho, and it was. In terms of long term for Orange Cassidy, it does seem unlikely that this guy would eventually move on to be a main eventer and a world champion. However, we have to remember AEW is a bit more of a relaxed company. I can see them putting that belt on him, even if it's just for a night, just for the pop, just for the fan excitement, you know? I do feel something like a TNT Championship run would be a bit more where he is. I'm not sure how the character generally transcends to fans. I'm yet to kind of delve into that and see other people's opinions. I love it. I love the comedic element of it. I think other people do, but you know, some of the so-called wrestling purists might not actually like Orange Cassidy that much, so it'll be interesting to hear their take on him. So guys, that was my review of AEW Fyter Fest Night 2, and it seems like we're gonna move straight into what should be the next pay-per-view, which is Fight for the Fallen, where we've got a terrific lineup of matches, including the AEW World Championship, Jon Moxley versus Brian Cage. So just like this review, I hope you're back next week, where we're going to talk all about what happened at Fight for the Fallen. And if you enjoyed this review, make sure you've hit the like button, make sure other people can see this video, share it and leave your comments below. And if you're new here, welcome. WrestleManiac UK, here to stay. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I drop a new video. WrestleManiac UK signing out, and I'll see you soon.